But, you know, George St. Pierre, he's a special guy. He really is a special athlete.
People were really underestimating how great George St. Pierre was.
Yeah.
He's a guy who beat every person that was ever put in front of him. The losses that he had avenged so beautifully. George St. Pierre is a monster.
George St. Pierre is the greatest fighter of all time. If you truly understand what he did in his career versus what other MMA athletes did at the time, there isn't really much of a comparison between him and John Jones, or I even put him above Demetrius Johnson. That conversation is for another day, and I'm going to break it down in this video. Also, if my voice sounds a little off, I'm recovering from a cold, but I've had this script written for a couple days now. I've really wanted to record, so here we are. For one, George had no glaring weaknesses to his game. When he was coming up, late 2000s, mid 2010s, he was the most well-rounded. He's honestly one of the first examples of someone being incredibly well-rounded to that extent. For example, despite famously not wrestling early on in his life, it was actually a highlight of his technical ability in the octagon. His groundwork was very impressive, almost never putting himself in bad positions. He had this uncanny ability to keep people on the ground once they were there, to repeatedly land ground and pound. An example that immediately comes to mind for me was round 1 of him versus fellow legend Nick Diaz, who himself was very technical when it comes to ground game.
Black trunks for the champion.
Good jab landed right away by Nick. Takedown by George from his back. Good elbow right away.
And his opponents.
Had the scar tissue repaired. George controlling Nick on the ground here in this first round. All George St. Pierre so far. Nick has just been unable to get back up to his feet. Nick's trying to get back up to his feet here.
George so strong.
There's no question he's physically stronger than Nick. But so far, if he can do this, it's all George.
As you just saw, Nick got taken down, but even with as good as Nick Diaz's get-ups are, and generally how crafty he was on the ground, which actually allowed him to try to fight to his feet a couple of times, as you just saw, but George kept using expert-level technique to keep him exactly where he wanted him. And as the first round showed, George continued to win that fight by unanimous decision, as he generally continued to dominate in that fashion. A second reason that I come to a lot when I think about this topic is his sheer dominance over the welterweight division. He defended his title 10 times and held the belt for around 6 years before vacating it in 2013. And that's not counting when he originally won the title in 2006. And in my opinion, a big reason for this is the fact that his fight IQ was absolutely incredible. Even by today's standards. You can just show one thing to outright prove this, is his fight with a very primed BJ Penn. BJ quickly started battering GSP on the feet in the first round.
BJ taking it to him.
He sure is, and he loves to throw. He's got very heavy hands.
Training with Randy Couture, who you all know walks around at about 220 pounds. And Randy had a hard time keeping BJ on his feet. George St. Pierre's face is busted up. Really bad already. Bleeding badly out of his nose. His eyes swelling shut. BJ is unscathed, and George St. Pierre is bleeding all over the place.
Some that were watching this pay-per-view live back in 2006 might have been wondering if George was not going to be able to fight Matt Hughes for the belt and get his 4-win streak wasted. As he was getting battered, as you saw, he was a bloody mess by the end of that first round. Yet, what made GSP different here is the way he quickly adjusted in between rounds. He realized that BJ was always going to win in exchanges because of his speed. So he adjusted and decided to use opportunities to get into clinch, to then chain together techniques to get takedowns, to get some damage and control time to start scoring so he can eventually win the fight.
Very hard to do anything to BJ Penn once he's on the ground. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, look at this takedown effect. Watch him stand back up again. Very impressive. All right, let's see BJ's guard here. Oh, there we go.
Bam!
Oh, good
That's
slam.
huge right there. That will score a bunch of points. And a good takedown by St. Pierre. And you love to score some points at the end of the round as well. Who will get to fight Matt Hughes?
points. For the winner, by split decision, George Rush St. Pierre!
As you just saw, this adjustment and general learning of BJ's game throughout the fight actually warranted him the winner by split decision, which I agree with. GSP definitely did enough to warrant himself the victor of that fight. And on top of all of what I've just listed, he had a clean record when it comes to PEDs/steroids. So the bouts were always fair, even at a time to where these enhancers were very prevalent. Some might take the stance by saying something along the lines of, he lost 2 fights in his professional career, but when it comes to clean MMA athletes, nobody else has the accomplishments he has. And also, none of those athletes can say that they have avenged all of their losses in the UFC. Whether that's the second fight with Matt Hughes, where he first won the belt and avenged that first loss.
The power of Matt Hughes.
Oh, Superman punch caught him. Hughes is stumbled.
Matt Hughes is hurt.
And the round is over.
Slipping outside and throwing a long jab of his own.
Big kick. Down goes Hughes.
Oh, he's hurt.
St. Pierre trying
He's
to
hurt.
finish it.
He's big time hurt.
With the elbows, George St. Pierre is the new welterweight champion.
Unbelievable.
Future has become the present.
Or his second fight he avenged, which was Matt Serra. Of course, whom he lost to in a crazy odds upset after the fight that was just shown. But after learning from his mistakes and using his IQ as he consistently did throughout his career, in the rematch he showed that Serra was never really competition to him and knocked him out in the second round.
Head movement, he's dropping his hands. Yves Levine right on top of his GSP doesn't stop. St. Pierre now has his back. 20 seconds remains. More knees by GSP. George St. Pierre is the undisputed UFC welterweight champion.
And now, for the second time, the new...
Though, at the end of this legendary welterweight run, he had a very questionable decision against a guy named Johnny Hendricks. Though Johnny Hendricks was known for a lot of PED usage, so I can't take away many points for this. But anyways, he retired, leaving for 4 whole years to return after a stint of acting and other things he did with his free time away from the sport. And then when he came back, he moved up a whole weight class to fight middleweight legend and then champion Michael Bisping.
Oh!
He's on the back.
To give up the back.
It's over. It's over, Joe. It's over, Joe. It's over, Joe. It's over.
George St. Pierre has done it. He is the new UFC middleweight champion.
Declaring the winner by submission due to a rear naked choke, and new.
And as you can see, he finished Michael in incredible fashion. And telling from the blood you can see all over GSP's face shows that he was really tested during this fight, yet he ended up on top. Forever cementing himself as a double UFC champion, but not just that, the greatest MMA athlete of all time. Anyways, if you agree or disagree with anything that was said during the rants of this video, feel free to let me know in the comments. I respond to every comment. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye-bye.